Welcome to Cannes 2022. My name is Wendy Mitchell. I'm delighted to be here talking about Scandinavian films. And today's film is Scandinavian and Iranian, and Jordanian, perhaps. We'll talk more. We have the writer-director Ali Abbasi from Holy Spider. And everybody is talking about this film, Ali. Congratulations on just such an impressive piece of work. I know it's been a passion project of yours for many years. Can you tell us why? It's inspired by a real serial killer. Can you tell us why this was a story you fought so long to bring to the screen?
I mean, when I started making movies, I thought like I'm going to be very productive. So I think Shelley took 5 years or 4 years to develop. Border took like 5 years, and this took like 10 years. Something at this rate, we probably meet again, like, you know.
We'll give you a Lifetime Achievement Award the next time I see you.
Yeah, and that would be great. That would be for my fourth and final movie.
No, we need more.
I mean, the thing with this movie is that it's more than a movie for me. It's more than a passion project. It is a, you know, for me, it's a way of, it's a statement. And it's a statement for many reasons. It's also a movie, you know. It's not like a theme or you know, headline movie about like women's conditions in Iran, whatnot. That is really not my job. Yeah. But I think what is the statement here is the fact that we have shown maybe for very, very few times an image of Iranian society that is usually not being seen, that is usually censored away. And I'm not even talking about like prostitution or drug use. I'm more talking about actually very normal stuff, like a woman going into her bedroom, taking off her headscarf, seeing a woman's legs. Those things that seem like so banal and absurd to talk about, but they have been censored in Iranian cinema's successful 50-year censorship campaign, which almost everyone has bought into. All the international festivals, the moviegoers, you know, they've been basically fed with this parallel reality of how people live their lives in Iran and how things look like. And I think this hopefully dent that, because that's not how the real life looks like in Iran.
Yeah, it definitely feels like I've never seen a glimpse of Iran like this, and I think it's bringing something new to the world. I know authenticity was really important to you. I spoke to your producers, Jacob Yarek and Saul Bondi, and they, you know, this was not an easy production to put together, even in a normal time, especially during a pandemic. You know, they told me, for instance, you really needed these certain kind of period cars that they had in Iran. Like, why were those details so important for you?
Because, you know, I think there's been some attempts at making movies about Iran outside of Iran. And those attempts, you know, they are targeting usually a Western audience who doesn't know much about Iran, who, you know, has certain conception or misconceptions. And that's why, and they're usually also made by people who don't maybe have the intimate knowledge of Iran or the means to realize it. I mean, for a Western audience, if you look at Argo, you go, oh, okay, this is Iran. Oh, great, it looks like Tehran. But I know where they shot those in Istanbul, you know? I can see those streets. I've been there, you know. So that's why it was important for me to say, okay, if we want to do this, we need to have a different level of attention to details. We need to, you know, we can't do this for the Western audience. We need to do this for all audience. Our audience is also people from Mashhad, the city where this happened. And setting the bar there, I think, is, you know, it also obliges to certain, you know, sort of, you know, minutious planning, execution, you know, in terms of like props and cars and whatnot, that I thought was absolutely necessary for this movie. I think this is, in my opinion, is really important for every movie, but sometimes it also is a matter of making a precedence, you know. And again, this is one of the precedents I wanted to make is, and I have to say, you know, not to sound, I'm proud to say that we have succeeded probably making the most accurate, one of the most accurate portraits of Iranian society and the feeling of being there outside of Iran.
Yes. Because you did end up shooting in Jordan.
Right.
What was that like? Did you work with some Jordanian crew? Was it a good experience for you?
I loved our Jordanian crew. I think they, you know, I remember we had this first night before we wanted to go and shoot. It was like this, we had this party, and I had a little speech for them. I said, hey, now you're part of Iranian film history, no matter where you're from. And 1/3 of my crew is Scandinavian, and a big part of it was Jordanian. Some of the actors are Iranian, some of them live in Iran, some of them are in France. And it was great because, you know, they were all on board in a strange way. You know, they were all like, you know, they were really motivated in a way that I don't think the salary that we offered, or, you know, the working conditions were motivated. And then I got COVID 2 days after, so
But you still
that was
shot.
another story.
Yes. You got through that COVID and safely shot the film.
This has been by far the most difficult, challenging fucking shoot I've been to in my whole life. Hopefully my life would be a bit easier after this, you know. Hopefully I don't do this again.
Well, it's such an achievement. Another big thing that feels authentic and I know is important to you was the cast.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit, especially your lead actor of the killer and this female journalist? Because I know the journalist character is actually played by someone who is working as your casting director. How did you convince her to play the part?
She was, I think, convinced by the circumstances, because it was really important for me that, you know, since this story happens in Mashhad, which is a certain part of Iran, it's a big province, it has its own culture, its own dialect, you know, it is a very distinct place. That some of the, and you know, it's a big city, it's a metropolitan area, so, you know, just like, you know, Manchester, not everyone who's in Manchester talks with that accent, but there is a big part of people who do that. Here I thought that it's important that there are a certain number of people who talk that accent so that we actually get a sense of place. And depending on the elements of story, if, for example, a character of Rahimi, she lives and works in Tehran, so it made sense for her not to speak that accent. But somebody like Saeed, he's from there, he's from that area. And to find an actor who was professional enough, who had the experience, who was as good as he was, who knew was speaking naturally in that accent, had that life experience, could ride the motorbike, it really narrowed it down to one. And it really was about finding that one person. And I think we got so fucking lucky.
Yeah, and very brave of him, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sort of trying to explain to people that talk about the movie and ask, but it's the amount of risk he's taking. It's insane. It's insane. You know, he is going above everything that the Iranian state even dreamt of a person would do, and he did it, you know, fully aware of it could have consequences. No, I really hope that, you know, that it doesn't really become anything problematic or serious for him, but I do know there is a consequence for him doing what he did.
Yeah, well, we're all grateful that you and him collaborated to give us this film. You don't strike me as a guy that really cares about whether you're going to wear a Gucci tuxedo or Prada down the red carpet, but I can imagine, you know, the standing ovation when that's for you and the team that have worked so hard. And it's also a sign that people understood your vision. They got what you were doing with this film. They're not just clapping for nothing. How did that feel, that response? All these 10 years of dreaming of wanting to tell this story and bring it, your voice of it to the world.
You know, usually I would love to take all credit for the movies I make because I feel like I'm a big genius and everything is brilliant. But this time around, I really can't, because I think there are so many people that are so heavily invested in this, that are so instrumental for bringing this to life, that has really sacrificed for this to happen, that has really gone like above and beyond everything that their job description would be. And when you have these people and they're being applauded, the movie being applauded, you know, our voices being heard on like one of the biggest stages that, you know, you can get for your movie, it feels like a, you know, it feels like a triumph, not only in terms of for the movie, but also for this mentality, for making a team effort to make a crack through the 50 years of Iranian censorship, of omitting women's bodies, of showing the false and distorted version of people's lives. And you know, like I also said at the ceremony, one of the things that always kept me going in the worst hours, in like when everything was fucked up, which there were a lot of those hours, was that you know, I made this movie with rage. I was angry, you know. I was angry because it's the whole thing, the whole treatment of the victims of the story has been so unjust. And I think that for me, when I sense that, I don't know, if any one of these people's families remotely hears that this story is being told, and it's not being told only by, you know, from the point of view, but these people are not numbers anymore. That actually somebody cared to mention, you know, their name, their fate, their faces. It's just like that little possibility. That's me winning. Yeah. You know, that's where I feel the mission is accomplished.
Yes, I think very much. Ali, thank you for talking to us, and congrats again to you and the whole team on an amazing film that I know took many years of hard work and patience to get it made, and we thank you, and best of luck, and enjoy the rest of Cannes. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I think that I'm waiting for the news from Iran to see how this reflects. But I'm an optimist. I think we're gonna see a red carpet event in Iran soon. Okay. I don't know where that red carpet would lead to, but...
Okay. Good luck and stay safe. Yes. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.